Gotta have a sense of humor to take all the jokes about how backward we are. Amen, interjected the man next to him. He turned to me. You know the toothbrush was invented in West Virginia? No, I didn't. Otherwise, it would be the teeth brush. Ron ordered us another round and introduced me to a young woman named Jess, who wore a tank top, hot pants, fishnet stockings, thigh-high boots, and fake blood smeared across her neck and bare midriff. Jess worked on a road crew but was clad for Halloween as a member of a heavy metal band, the Butcher Babies. I'm that one, Carla, except for the knife in the vagina, she said, displaying a picture on her phone of a singer thrusting a bloody dagger at her crotch. Jess looked up from her phone and studied my costume. Jeans, work boots, plaid shirt, horn-rimmed glasses, dun Carhartt jacket with a notebook and pen stuck in one pocket. Let me guess, she said in an exaggerated drawl. Yankee boy, spying on us hillbillies. This was uncomfortably close to the mark. I couldn't muster a witty comeback, so I told her a version of the truth. I was doing research on a famous American who came through here in the 1800s. Jess pondered this for a moment. Okay, history guy, here's a question. Did you know Mother's Day was invented in Grafton? I shook my head, awaiting the punchline. Some joke about incest? Instead, Jess led me to the door and pointed down Main Street. Few blocks that way, big-time shrine to all our great moms. Then she turned to greet a friend and share her Butcher Baby's picture again. Walking through the drizzle, I reached a statue of a mother and child beside an old church. A historic plaque identified this sanctuary as the site of the first Mother's Day observance in 1908. A much larger building loomed directly across the street, an ornate brick and granite pile with massive columns, evidently a relic of the town's better days. The hulking edifice was vacant and in poor repair, but at its crown, above elegantly hewn laurels, I could make out the letters B and O, the bygone rail line I was following through the hills on the trail of a long-ago traveler. In 1854, a roving correspondent for the New York Daily Times noted a slang term common in the South, gone to Texas. This phrase, or its abbreviation, GTT, was painted on the doors and fence posts of abandoned homesteads as a sign that the inhabitants had fled debt, the law, or other trouble for a fresh start on the frontier. GTT, the correspondent wrote, was almost equivalent, when added to a man's name, to branding him a swindler, defaulter, lawless ruffian, or scapegallows. The author of this anecdote was identified in the Times as Yeoman. Pseudonyms were common in the 1850s, and traveling incognito was a prudent measure in the slave states, where northern visitors were often cast as abolitionist snoops and stirrers. The pen name Yeoman also spoke to the writer's agrarian identity. He was a proudly independent tiller of the land, on sabbatical from his farmstead, touring the plantation south and following the trail of those gone to Texas. Frederick Law Olmsted is celebrated today as a visionary architect of New York's Central Park, among many other spaces, the U.S. Capitol grounds, college campuses, residential neighborhoods, the Biltmore Estate in North Carolina. During the latter half of the 19th century, Olmsted helped create much of the urban and suburban landscape that Americans still inhabit. But this far-sighted designer was molded by an eccentric apprenticeship as a merchant seaman to China, an experimental farmer, a European wanderer, and, most significantly, the undercover correspondent known as Yeoman, a Connecticut Yankee exploring the Cotton Kingdom on the eve of secession and Civil War. Before embarking on his Southern tour, Olmsted wrote a friend that he sought reliable understanding of the sentiments and hopes and fears of Americans on the other side of the nation's widening divide. He wanted to gather matter-of-fact matter, which he believed would give ballast to the angry debate over slavery that was tilting the country toward violent breakup.